not gonna lie, 2023 me would have never said this, but after finally catching up with the manga, I think I can officially agree that enough time has truly passed, bro. Kagurabachi genuinely deserves all the blazes game right now, especially right now. Like I'm telling you, the run has been on for 100 chapters straight, has got to be taught in like the history books or something, bro. Sojo arc, Rakuachi arc, and Sword Bear assassination arc all range from an 8 to 10 out of 10, bro. I'm so serious. And it gets progressively better like after every arc, I swear. But in this video, I really want to get into the Sword Bear assassination arc and really just talk about my favorite moments in it, because every single page from the first chapter of the arc to the most recent one has been genuine cinema, dog. I'm not even glazing. So yeah, this video obviously contains spoilers, so if you're already interested in the manga, then go ahead and click off and read it. But if you don't really care, then yeah, I don't know. Maybe watch and see if you'll get interested or something. I don't know, man. But anyways, before we get into this latest arc, let me give a run through, just a quick rough summary for the first two arcs and how they serve to build up to the latest arc. So starting off, we got the Sojo arc, which serves as the perfect arc to let us truly understand who our MC is, Chihiro, and his beliefs on the enchanted blade and what he's fighting for. And it shows that Sojo, which is the antagonist of the arc, has the exact opposite beliefs as Chihiro when it comes to the enchanted blades. But technically they aren't really complete opposites, because both Chihiro's beliefs and both Sojo's beliefs can honestly be the same thing, which is shown later on in the manga. But one thing they actually do have in common is that they both admire Kunishige and they both fight hard as hell for what they believe in. Should have mentioned this earlier, but Kunishige is Chihiro's dad that got knocked off and got his chain snatched, aka the enchanted blades, which is why Chihiro's fighting in the first place. But on top of that, the arc also explains important things about the world building, like the enchanted blades, like I said, the power system in general, and the Kamunabi, which is the government affiliated agency of sorcerers, essentially just the Jujutsu sorcerers in JJK. And honestly, it's at this point where I realized this manga ain't just some generic revenge story people like myself were thinking it was gonna be. Like, there is genuine depth and lore in this story, bro, and I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't expecting that. That's me. Next, we get to the Rakuachi arc, where we finally learn who our deuteragonist is, being Hakuri, who is a part of the Sazanami family, and that family is dedicated to run the Rakuachi, which is an auction where human beings are being sold. Yes, you heard that right, bro, human beings. But don't worry though, Hakuri is chill, bro. He's not a part of that anymore. But it honestly just shows how messed up their world is, even while being under Kamunabi's order. Yeah, Hakuri is important to this arc because he one day just randomly locks in and realizes he's a part of is low-key messed up, and later on is willing to help Chihiro take down the Rakuachi and his father Kiora, who is the head of the Sazanami family and the main antagonist of the arc. The reason why they want to do this is because these motherfuckers are auctioning, which is essentially King Von's cursed tool, bro. That being probably the most important thing in the entire series, which is the strongest enchanted blade called the Shinuichi. Not gonna say too much about the details of this arc, but essentially this arc is just an introduction about the main antagonist of the story, Yura, who is the leader of the group that murdered Chihiro's father called the Shaku, and then the Sword Master, the wielder of the Shinuichi and quote-unquote hero of the Seitei War. First of all, I am so sorry if I'm mispronouncing these words. Matter of fact, hold on, let me search it up. Seitei War. Seitei. My fault. Seitei. But yeah, then we get to the current arc, which is the Sword Bear assassination arc, which is the arc that I'm mainly going to be talking about in this video, because I'm going to be real, it don't even make sense how good this arc is, bro. Like, there isn't a single bad segment in this arc, bro. It's that good. Now, of course, it doesn't really make sense for me to talk about the current segment because it's still not done yet, so I might just wait till later on in the series for me to talk about it. And what makes this arc so much better is that they brought birth to the greatest character into the series, bro. And I ain't gonna lie, at first I thought it was gonna be Hakuri, you feel me? But nah, man, Samura got it by a long shot. But before we talk about him, let's talk about Uruha, because not gonna lie, I was low-key asleep at first, but later on I could truly understand the hype. Because at first we couldn't really see him fight, because the whole point of the beginning of the arc is to protect the sword bearers, because if they die, then the enchanted blades will be usable for the Hishaku, meaning it's pretty much wrapped for everyone. So yeah, I ain't get to see enough of him until we get to Samura's temple. And when I tell you these boys were snapping, bro, and that doesn't even go for only both of them, bro, because even the Masumi was going crazy. Because what makes this fight so interesting is because Samura is completely blind, meaning the only thing he attacks are just noises. Now for the Masumi, that ain't a problem because they're ninjas, meaning they just move without making a sound. But Uruha was essentially fighting both the Hishaku while trying to defend himself from Samura. And at that moment right there, I gave full respect to this man, because at this moment Samura is pretty much like the best swordsman in the verse right now. Yeah, bro put his life on the line to fight alongside his master. I gotta give it to him, bro. He's got heart. He's got heart. But only for Samura to switch up on his day one as soon as he got his enchanted blade back. But further, before we talk about that, can we just talk about how clean this man's enchanted blade is? Like, genuinely, Crow is probably like my favorite move in the whole series. Like, what do you mean you can summon a huge amount of feathers and then swap place with them at any time, bro? That's insane. And one of his other abilities is Suzaku, which is the ability to summon flames that can regenerate almost anything to its original state. This is what he used for both Chihiro and Uruha, so that he can temporarily kill them and unlink them from the enchanted blades. Now, the reason for this is because Samura wants to completely eradicate the heroes of the Seitei War. But if he kills a sword master only, then every sword bearer will die since the Shinoichi is pretty much the core of every other blade. So Samura instead just wants to unlink the sword bearers but kill the sword master, leaving only him and the sword master to die. And honestly, as much as I respect him for this, it really doesn't fix anything at all, bro. Cause like, yeah, he could kill the Hishaku as well afterwards, or before, I guess, but that means the swords themselves will be free to use for any other person. Like, they can just do the same thing. Like another Hishaku can pop up later on. So essentially he's primarily doing this only for atonement because of what happened at the Seitei War. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna go like super heavy on that because, you know, this arc is already as long as it is. But pretty much the sword bearers and other sorcerer clans in Japan were all at war with invaders from an island, which were the people that first exposed sorcery to Japan in the first place, and are the reason why the enchanted blades exist in the first place as well. But later on in the war, they decided to make peace with the invaders. Well, everyone besides King Von, aka the sword bearer, aka Akemura Soga. Bro killed 200,000 people on that island, and the other sword bearers can do a damn thing about it. But later on, they did manage to defeat him, labeled him as insane, and then the government labeled the sword bearers as heroes, and then yeah, just like that, the war crime got covered. Pretty wild to think about, I ain't gonna lie. But moving on to my personal favorite segment, where the Masumi and Chihiro had to protect Samura's daughter. And I ain't gonna lie, I think this is where Hokusano truly shines as an artist, bro. Like, there's just so much jaw-dropping panels in this arc, it's crazy. But yeah, pretty much the mission is to protect Samura's daughter, Yuri, because the Hishaku wants to use her as a hostage in case Samura betrays them, which he plans to. So the plan is to get her to some hotel in order to properly erase her memory of Samura and make everyone forget they are related. Cause Samura just wanted her to live a peaceful life while not having her have bodyguards 24/7 and not having to deal with bullying at school because of him. So fast forward to when we get to the hotel and we see one of my favorite characters, Hiruhiko. Now Hiruhiko was introduced way before while Uhura was being escorted. And that fight definitely wasn't one of my favorites, but it definitely had one moment I liked where Hiruhiko got blitzed. Like, yeah, that's about it. But this rematch is for sure like top 5 in the series. I don't care what no one says, bro. Hiruhiko was genuinely like that. His fighting style is clean as hell, and the fact that him and both Chihiro was able to adapt really fast to the probably like the hardest sword style in the verse is genuinely insane, bro. Put some respect on both of the names. But the way Chihiro adapted was so fire, bro. But at first we thought Yuri was just some type of innocent girl, you feel me, just wanted to go back to school. Like, bro, she was legit stressing the entire arc, bro. It's crazy. But as her memories start coming back about Samura, so did her lessons from him. And then she randomly locks in and just starts fighting, and I'm like, bro, like, where in the world did this come from? And it only gets better because Chihiro seizes mid-strike against Hiruhiko, then adjusts his form to win the clash. Like, you genuinely can't make this up, bro. Hokusano is just really up there, I'm trying to tell y'all, man. And again, it only gets better because once Chihiro finally uses the N10 and Hiruhiko uses Uhura's blade, which is the Kumiyuri, Samura immediately shows up to put belt to ass. He told both Chihiro and the Hishaku to not use the enchanted blades. Now look at these children just asking to get whooped, bro. It's crazy. Hiruhiko cooked. Bro put his all in one attack to destroy the entire building, just for Samura to completely nullify it and cook him. Mind you, all of this was done just to be acknowledged by Chihiro. But the way he's looking at it, bro, he genuinely does not care, and he knows it. Like, I ain't gonna lie, man, that's my goal, but he went out sad as hell this arc. It's actually crazy. But then Samura begins to target Chihiro, and I'm telling you, man, once again, this fight was pure cinema. Now, don't get me wrong, the fight itself was amazing. The angles, the choreography, everything was fantastic. But what I really like about this fight is just the visuals, man, and the show and don't tell type of writing with it. The way both Samura and Chihiro essentially created themselves an empty domain by filling the area with feathers and fishes, making them fight purely based off sensing their spirit energy was insane. And I also like them showing Samura slowly being able to open the door, aka healing his eyes, because he's too scared to see a future of his daughter dying or just a bad future in general. Like, he genuinely has zero faith in the future while he's alive, which is the reason why he's doing this in the first place. But Chihiro gives him hope by showing that there could be a future with him in it, with that being him to destroy the Shinoichi with his enchanted blade, the N10. This is because the N10 was forged with Kunishike's will to bring an end to the enchanted blades, giving it the ability to do so. And after Chihiro proves to Samura that he could really do it, that man finally opened up the door, man. He healed his eyes and reunited with his daughter once again, bro. Clap it up. Clap it up, man. Like, I'm trying to tell y'all, man. Like, this is honestly just me, like, picking out, like, key highlights of the arc. But, bro, there's just so much other stuff that I didn't even mention, bro. It's crazy. Like, I can confidently say, as I'm caught up to the manga, I'm a true Kagurabachi believer, bro. I can see it. I can see a future with it having an amazing adaptation, with it being just as popular as Demon Slayer or even better. Like, bro, I could see it, bro. I could see it. Yes, I'm glazing. I don't care. I can see it. But yeah, without further ado, man, make sure y'all like, subscribe, and let me know how y'all feel about Kagurabachi and like what you see in it in this future. You think it's gonna be a flop, or you think it's gonna be the next Demon Slayer or something? Let me know.